Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another week of Growing with My Fellow Growers. I'm your host, Jack Greenstock, joined as always by an amazing panel. I'm going to pass it over first this week to Spartan Grown.
Hello, everybody. I am Spartan Grown. You could find me on Instagram at Spartan Grown, all one word with no spaces, or you could shoot me an email at spartangrown@gmail.com or russ@gmlarmy.com, and I can help you with all of your growing and lighting questions, hopefully. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Indeed, we'll definitely get to that. I've got a, I think, good question for Father's Day, but I wanted to say sorry to everybody. Last week, I lost cell service. I thought I was going to be able to maybe message the people on the panel or even get the show started, but I was at Cali Vibes Fest in Long Beach with my lovely wife, working with the American Weed Company booth at AWC Life. Shout out to them, good people, and good mission, good cause, all that great stuff. But had a good time there, and unfortunately, just wasn't able to get the show off the ground for everybody. But we're back this week, and I'm going to pass it over next to Brandon Russ.
What's going on, everybody? Brandon Rust here. It's good to be back. You can find me on Instagram at rust.brandon. My Bokashi page got disabled, so I'm creating a new page. It's going to be at FUL crop CROP. So full crop with one L dot sciences.
Sounds good. I followed you over on that page as well. It's always unfortunate when Instagram starts pulling that nonsense, and hopefully, like many times before, you'll be able to appeal and get your account back. One of the people.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it back this time because it was actually my personal Facebook page that I've had since like 2009 that got hit, and I had all of those linked in a portfolio through like Meta Business Suite and Meta Pixel, so it was integrated into the back end of our website. And since the page got hit and it's connected to my Bokashi page, my backup account, and my NutriGrow pot account. So they all got hit. I lost four accounts.
Damn. Yeah, Meta is, in my opinion, the worst big social media app, maybe other than TikTok, but that's maybe for a later discussion. I want to welcome in the American one. You are still muted,
Oops,
Todd.
hello, Jack and panel and everyone in chat. Yeah, I thought you'd still had to get to Spartan, but I'm the American one on the IG and the American one underscore with underscore 18s on. Oh, that's on the IG. The YouTube is just the American one. Yeah, I'm all fucked up. All right, but I'm glad I made it a little bit late, and good to see you guys and good to see people in chat. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right.
Happy to be back. Happy Father's Day, as Spartan already mentioned. I think a fun one would be if you had a father or father figure in your life, or just anybody that gave you. Uh, I feel like fatherly advice is something that is can be pivotal. You know, if you had a good father in your life or father figure, it could be a grandfather, it could be a family friend, it could just be somebody at work. You know, it doesn't actually have to be a dad or blood relative or anything like that. But I'm curious. I know Spartan Grown himself is a father and maybe even a grandpa as of recent. So maybe there's another YouTube channel that ends their videos with asking for dad advice or fatherly advice. But I think as it is Father's Day, it doesn't have to be grow related either. This could be like general life advice and things like that.
Are you asking me for advice that my father or father figure had given to me, or are you asking for advice from me to give to somebody else? Because those are two different things.
So the first one I want to hear is maybe some good advice you had got from your father or whoever that figure is in your life. And then follow up, because you're also a father, have you given any advice maybe to your kid from that maybe father perspective?
From my, from me, and from what I've gotten from my father, and I will owe him forever for, was my father, and I'm sure there's other people out there like that, but in my life, never in my life have I met a person with a will to fight forever. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a fucking elephant and it's if that elephant is coming against his family, my dad is going to take on that elephant. He gives no fucks. And it doesn't matter if it's cancer and it's terminal. He's going to say, it ain't going to beat me. Nothing's tougher than me, kind of a thing. And so that never give up attitude, that nose to the grindstone, you know, you work until your body gives out, not to because your will never give out. That's my dad, and that's that's the best thing I think that I could get from him is just like that never give up attitude and that fighting spirit. And then for me, for me, what I find myself telling my own son as advice as a father is just in being a father, and that's you just got to be patient, man. You have to look at you have to look at everything like in the moment, everything seems so big and so insurmountable sometimes. But everyone in their life can think of something that like you can think back and be like, oh, when I was a kid, when whatever, I wasn't able to watch my favorite TV show for that one day. I thought it was the end of the world in that moment. But I look back on it now, it's like inconsequential, like not even an issue. And that's just evidence of how strong you are going through tough times, how it makes you tougher. And so I was like, what I told my son when he was getting short with his kids, and it's just like, well, you don't have to, you can be super patient about it because just tell yourself that, like, yeah, this is crazy right now, but you're gonna get through it. It's not the end of the world. Nobody's dead. Nobody's dying. Nothing's that serious. It's not that serious. It seems terrible right now, but give it a couple days, and I guarantee you, it's not going to feel bad at all. And I think that's really helped him. I think it's really helped him, and it's helped me in my life to be pretty calm about things and not, worry because we're our own worst enemies when it comes to men because we trap ourselves in our heads. We don't tend to reach out. So that's what I told my son.
I think that's sage advice. My dad said it kind of a different way to me, which was in 5 years or 10 years from now, this won't even be a blip on your radar, is kind of how he described it. And whenever I'd hear that in the moment, I'd be like, oh, that's just, an easy thing to say or whatever. And I'd be all pissed and sad or upset or whatever it is that I'm going through. But then it ended up being like most parents, he was fucking right. 5 years ago, a lot of the shit that was my biggest problem isn't even on my concern list today in most circumstances. Some people it is. Maybe you're still fighting that demon or illness or whatever it is, debt. Who knows? But
Yeah, but it's always us. It's always our own minds that are doing the worst damage. We're like in our heads, if you dwell on things, if you sit on things and you're sitting on situations like, oh, this is terrible. Could be even worse. It's going to turn into this. Your brain doesn't know the difference from real life to it's feeling those same emotions as you're make believing something into existence. So it's like if you're gonna fucking sit there in your head, try to think happy thoughts. I know it sounds silly, but that's the thing. It's like, well, or tomorrow could be a better day. Or, I could get a phone call tomorrow and somebody that I didn't think was there is, changing my whole outlook. Don't let it ruin your whole life over a bad day.
yeah, it's easy to get down in the moment, but life goes on typically. Sometimes it may not. It may actually be your last day, but hopefully we can make our time count before that day comes. I'm curious if the American one has any advice, maybe from a father-like figure, maybe your father actually, or somebody like that in your life that maybe helped you in life.
Yeah, I would say my father just died, passed away last year, and he was like super humble. He was like a unique person. But he didn't tell me this, but I learned this from someone, and I think it really is crucial in kind of staying as stasis and happy. But it seems like all disappointment stems from expectations. So people get expectations on whatever it is. It could be anything. And if the expectations don't match with what the reality ends up being, they're often disappointed and bummed out. So I tamper my expectations all the time, and I always try not to be pessimistic, but just not to have
Overhype it.
preconceived, yeah, or even preconceived expectations or anything. This way, you'll never be disappointed. Not that you shouldn't strive for maybe expectations. You can make if you have control, you should control your situation. But as far as expectations go, that's where when they don't align with reality, people that's when you get screwed. Like so, I would
You
say
disappoint
that's
yourself. You
yeah,
sort of build it
right.
up in
It's
your
all
head.
on you because your expectations. If it's something in the future, it hasn't happened yet, so you're fabricating, and like yeah. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you, man. And it's like in your head, you can mind hack yourself to your advantage. It just doesn't get like we're all humans, I think, are born pros at. at finding the worst in every situation, right? Especially when you center it on your own, like on me. Oh, I should have did this or I should have said that. But if you try to find the best in every situation, it sounds so silly. But I mean, if you literally try to like you fucking like I got an example right now. Emily is we have a tent set up and she's trying a breeding project with some of my vortex pollen. And it's old and it's been in the freezer for almost 5 years now. It's the same pollen I used to make the Project V and the Spartan Puke, that same pollen. And she asked if she could use, I said, yeah, you can use that. I'm probably not even gonna, I don't have any plans for it. So she says, okay, well, she picked the hardest thing you could pick. She's going to hit, she wants to hit the Mac 1, which is famous for not wanting to accept pollen, because it's a triplet, or is it triploid? Diploid? Triploid, I believe.
think it's a triplet.
Yeah. And so, and she also, her also favorite cut that I have is one that I created called Bliss Bud. I call it the Bliss Bud. I made it for my sister. And so she has a Bliss Bud and a Mac. And she what we do is she just puts it in that tent and then pollinates it in there and leave it in there for maybe a day or two. And then we spray them down with water and put them in the regular flower room. And that way you don't have to have a, here that's a cheap home grow tip for a cheap breeding space. It doesn't have to be crazy, just a good space that you can cordon off for a couple days. Um, anyways, hit them with water, right? And then let them dry off, and then bring them in with the regular girls. Well, the other day, of course, I'm looking and I have four bliss buds in the regular flower room just for flower. Actually, we're growing it for concentrate, to be honest with you. But I'm looking at the bottoms and I'm like, I'm like, Emily, come in here. I want to show you something. She's like, what? And I'm like, look at that. You see those calyxes right there? You see how big those are? And she's looking at them. She's like, yeah. I said, those are, I guarantee you there's seeds right there. And
Yeah,
she's like,
but
oh my God. I'm like, settle down, settle down, settle down. I said, it's fucking awesome. She's like, what are you talking about? So for one, it's concentrate. No big deal. It's all going to be washed anyway, and we're not going to have seeds in the final product. Two, we'll harvest those ones that we know where there's fucking seeds, because now we know that we have a Bliss Vortex cross right there. So that's what you intended to do with the Bliss Bud anyway. So you've already successful in getting seeds at least in half of your project. So we'll let that mature, and there's your seeds right there. Even if it's a handful, you can have something to pop. And then I said, but the thing that's the biggest positive to me is that fucking pollen is still good. That fucking pollen, and it's literally I don't cut it with anything. That's literally a fucking little glass mason jar full of straight pollen. That's at least 5 years old. So I'm like, I'm amazed it even pollinated anything.
you had it in the freezer or the refrigerator?
Just a freezer.
Okay.
Yep, just a freezer. And then when we took it out of the freezer, I took the cap off, I mean the ring off, pop the lid and then just let it like be just sitting on top, and so it could come to room temperature first, and then I would crack it, a little bit like that. Just I didn't want moisture to build up because that's obviously not what you want with pollen, but I didn't want to put the pollen like frozen onto the plant. I wanted it room temperature, actually a little bit warmer because it's gonna be warmer in there. So try to get as close to the temperature of where we're going with it. So that took maybe, I don't know, 16 hours sitting on the counter. Just get it up to that temperature without adding moisture. But
Definitely
yeah,
don't want to rush after 5 years.
she literally took like a little makeup brush and dipped it in it, and she's just tapping it over the buds.
Dude,
And
speaking of pages being deleted, as I watched that post, I tried to like it, and
yeah,
then her page, I tried to comment on it. It like disappeared before my fucking eyes. Like I had the post loaded on my Instagram, and I tried to engage with it. Yeah, I think she may have gotten her page back, maybe not,
yeah,
but
yeah, she got shut down for after that post, showing everyone how to pollinate a plant.
ridiculous, dude.
Yeah,
Funny enough, that's what I used to pollinate too. Lady Greenstock's makeup brushes. Didn't want to buy a paintbrush just for the sake of it, and I didn't have a clean one laying around, so
yeah.
worked
Well,
out.
she appealed it or whatever, and it took fucking several days, but she did get it back. So, and
That's
she got,
awesome.
and her post is still there. So that was
Well, and
pretty
she
awesome.
also just got a moderator wrench in the chat because I saw her commenting, "Cheers, you guys," and
Oh, shout out, baby. Anything
well
grows.
deserved.
She is she's private on Instagram too. So that was pretty eyebrow rousing to me to see them shut a post down that quick on a private account. So that means, I mean, that had to have been somebody reporting. I mean, I can't understand anything else that could have been.
Crazy. It's crazy, man. All it takes is one person or
Yeah.
some algorithm to think it's something worse than it is. It's like
It
they'll
makes you
show everything
tinfoil
else on there.
hat. It makes you tinfoil hat. You're like, oh, you're showing how to breed plants. You can't do that. You're like, what are you talking
If you
about?
gave them any amount of money to like sponsor a page, typically they but it even sounds like they're fucking with Brandon and it sounds like you had some business accounts over there. So maybe give them a little bit of money on at Meta and they're still fucking with you.
Yep. Whatever the case, it's amazing to me that that fucking pollen was viable and I was excited about it. And then it kind of turned around upside down. And
I've warned everybody if you have pollen anywhere in a house, even if it's like on a different floor, just expect it to pollinate every flowering female that you have. Because like we were talking about expectations earlier,
yeah,
if your expectation is like the worst, like they say like expect prepare for the worst, expect the best maybe is like a military thing or something like that. But I've sort of applied that to life at times. And not to say that you should always like think or hope that's going to happen. You know, we obviously don't want the worst thing to happen. But if you know what it is or relatively close to that range, like, oh, all of my plants can be pollinated. Well, you're already like, hey, I'm going to make it into concentrate anyway. So it's not crisis averted for the most part already there. But you also wanted to see if the pollen was viable, and this was a successful test of that, which is great because good genetics and the same pollen that you use to make other projects. So from a breeding perspective and labeling perspective, you have simple labeling and consistent genetic usage, the exact same genetics, exact same pollen. So that's really cool that you're gonna have access to that. Because I don't know, I think the wider we get the genetic pool, the better, and that's why I think home grow will continue to reign. You know, we're gonna keep on breeding cool shit.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm just excited too because in the back of my head, the first thing I thought was like Spartan puke is like in my world wildly popular, and I'm getting low on the seed, and I don't want to be low on the seed. I want everybody to enjoy it. So now I can fucking make more with the exact same pollen. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I took a different male. No, this is the that exact male's pollen make on the exact same, female plant. I
I
still
will
have Vortex.
I will say it's
I can
possible,
make
like
V2s.
Kyle Breeder and others, aficionado estates use a combination of like positive pressure and tense, and then spraying down plants and areas and even themselves to neutralize pollen in between pollinations. And so there are people that, I mean, in theory, are isolating and separating. They have like HEPA filters in each tent and things like that. But like every time you open up that zipper, there's like a small chance that some of it doesn't get wet down and some of it gets transferred to the next plant and things like that. So I do think limiting or even just outright, if you're early on in the game, using only one male to make it so at least any seed you find, you know, like who daddy is, and then mommy is the
Yeah,
plant who is carrying the seed. So that simplifies things quite a bit versus I tried to run two
absolutely.
males for a bit and that was a nightmare.
And my other tip, if you're a home breeder, is do your breeding very last. So go in there to your regular garden. I'm sure you're going to do it around the same time, the breeding stuff around the same time as you're in your other garden, because the lights cycles. So just do all of your other work, all of your other garden work. Do all of that first and be done with it so you don't go back in there. And then go to the wherever you're doing the breeding project. Even have the breeding project watered. You know, I'm saying the very last thing you do before you step out of that garden and leave and maybe go upstairs and take a shower is you pollinate that your plant in your breeding project, wherever that is. Because then you're not even like, especially look at me. I mean, look at this beard. Look, I mean, I'm not, I'm not bragging, but that holds a lot of pollen. So, I mean, just don't go back into that space. Just leave. So make that your last thing and then get the hell out.
Feel like I'm smoking on some classics at this point. I got some Gelato 41 concentrate and I got some strawberry cough on the flower.
Stop making me feel old when you say Gelato 41 is a fucking classic. Here I'm thinking, is he gonna say Durban Poison, that motherfucker? I
No, man,
want
this is
some.
classic
No,
now.
he says Gelato 41.
Not like classic car standard, but I mean, in the cannabis standard, shit, gelato has been cycled through at least 3 or 4 different generations since
Oh,
then.
for sure. I'm not arguing, but I'm just saying you're making me feel fucking old because
I felt
that
old
isn't a
because I was like,
classic in my
man,
mind.
I'm gonna reach for a classic, a staple, gelato. I got this little
I wouldn't
concentrate
even
that
give me a GG4, and that's brand new almost on the classic range, I would say.
I think that's definitely entering in there.
Modern
OGs,
classic.
modern classic for sure. A lot of the stuff before then was just like the country of origin. So, like other than like White Widow, Super Cellar Haze,
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
early strains,
Let's bring that back.
I
Wherever you
love them.
breed something, wherever you bring that back, mine gonna be the Jackson, Michigans, man. Watch out for that one. That sounds terrible. Why would I call it that?
I mean, it'll get some local rep and local love. That's the thing is like markets are all different, and like each state has different, culture. And some states really do want to buy and support local. They don't want it shipped in from Oklahoma or California even, unless they're in Oklahoma or in California. And even then, some of them are like, "Oh man, I want that whatever. New York sour."
I really like it. I like the idea of that, but I would still say like what you just said, like the New York sour or the Michigan sour. That would be I would be like, I want to try that shit. What's up? What's the Michigan just sour? What's that about?
There's
Uh,
some folks out in New York that have all that sour stuff. All different
They have sour the guy, shout out to Gene Traders, man. They have a sour contest every year. It's like a cup and it's just bring your sour. What is your sour? You tell me what it is. And then they smoke it out and they have a like a cup with just the sours, which I think is fucking badass. I love that. It's not let's talk about it. That's not let's debate it. It's like, no, bring the sour. Bring it here and we'll see what it is. That's what I love. I love that shit. And I think that was in New York or was it New Jersey? Where did he hold? I know he just held
was
that
in
up.
New York.
Okay, New York.
Yeah, I went to one of those actually. I was just
Did
out
you?
there for another sour and Kush competition too.
How was it, man?
I mean, I took third on the chem category with my Chem D across the Black Lime Reserve.
Sweet, nice, man.
You ever just grow the pure Chem D?
Yeah, I have a bed of it growing right now. I have both
Is
of
there a
those
reason
growing
you
in
didn't
my
enter
flower room.
just the Chem D by itself
Yeah,
versus
it's
across?
6, so my lights went off at 6. But Chem D by itself, just absolutely fucking fantastic. I can't speak any higher about it. It is one of those things that it's got a perfect high to it. It looks beautiful. You can see how it was so popular even back in the 90s. I mean, to today's standards, when we're talking about bag appeal, it's got great bag appeal.
Still
You
good.
know, it's
I feel that
yeah,
way from all
it's
the
it's
90
excellent.
stuff. Chem
Yeah.
91, Chem D,
Still does.
OG Kush, I think still has decent to good bag appeal.
I would
It's
say
frosty. It smells
it
good.
was the frostiest plant I ever fucking grew until I grew Mac 1. Mac 1 was
Yeah,
the
Mac
first thing I
one.
grew that I felt was a prettier plant than fucking Chemdy.
Yeah, and so when I was out there last time, a lot of people were out there. Green Bodie, DNA Genetics. I met P Bud. He's the one that gave me the Chem D cut. Um, there's a there was just a gang of people out there that Danny Danko and just the whole New York scene. What I like about it most is that their version of Haze, which is this is kind of weird because I saw this. I was reading a book and they were talking about the different categories, and one of the categories was Jackson Hazes, but that's not accurate because the when people are like, "Hey, this is our piff," or "This is," they're all like African hazes, and they don't have terpinolene, they don't have lime, they don't have lemon in them, they don't have any of the. They're not piney. They're different, and it's the only place that
It's like
I've been
woody,
to, and
incensey.
yeah, it's like a woody incensey thing. Some of them are a
I
little
grew up with
meaty
Biff, dude. I loved
sometimes.
Biff.
And so it's different. In New York is the only place that I have been, and I've been to a lot of places that you find that. And so
That's where we
it,
got our shit
you
from.
couldn't put you couldn't put that into a California like competition under the like Jax or Hayes category. because it's completely different.
People wouldn't identify with it as much as they do in the East Coast. Like we got our stuff from there was a crew called the Washington Heights Haze group that ran the Biff, but they got it from another group. But New York was definitely pushing the most haze, and that's where people would shit. People drove to California with vans and brought 10 pounds back at a time. I know a specific guy I can think of that did that, and I know there's probably plenty more doing similar, or shipping it in the mail, or in the case of New York, that's not a far drive from Ohio or PA, where a lot of money was to be made, bringing it from a state where it was illegal to, that's also illegal, but has way less access and ability to kind of move it around.
Yeah, so I don't know. New York is unique in that sense with all the hazes. Like I said, I think they're all like kind of African hazes.
Breeder Steve, speaking of old school stuff, is about to, I think he said wherever not um like legally banned or whatever, he'll send like verified cuts out and stuff coming soon of like his old stuff, like the Sweet Tooth, Blockhead, um, all that good stuff. So I believe, like he said, a lot of the old stuff is still around for a reason. Just like Brandon's describing with the chem, just like we're feeling about the GG4 or OG Kush or whatever it is, a lot of these old strains, they're still, if you have access to them, like the real thing, you're going to be pretty impressed by it because it was good then, it's good now. The new stuff is different, but it's not necessarily better. Maybe different flavors, different types of highs, but it doesn't make those old highs bad, which is
I
something
find a
that I
lot
think a
of the
lot of us
newer
realize.
stuff. This is my personal opinion, but I feel like a lot of the newer stuff, the high is watered down.
It's short too. It's like a hour or less sometimes.
Oh yeah, if you smoke my weed, you're going to be high for a few hours.
I think good weed should be that way. Like I think 2 to 3 hours should be like the standard, not like 45 minutes to an hour, and you're like, damn, I need to smoke again, or else I'm gonna feel like shit.
Especially if it's a dab. I
I
love
just sent
dabs.
off my glass. The top of our Puffco broke, so shout out to Per Glass or PUR Glass. They do glass repair, and it was just like a chip at the top. So instead of fixing it, they just actually like sliced off the part that was broken and then smoothed it.
That's
So
fucking cool. Is it
they're
a
super cool.
is the hole just the same, so the choke's the same, or is it a little bit bigger?
It'll probably be a little bit wider. I actually haven't gotten
Oh,
it back
fucking
yet, but
hell
I've seen
yeah.
them do
Well,
work on it. The
you
one
can
that I'm
take it
having
with them.
replaced, this is my Puffco Peak glass from way back. I have the Opal version of the Peak Pro, which was like a limited drop. And when I broke that, it's like you can't buy a replacement. I ended up finding a unicorn horn, which we also ended up cracking the exact same way. I won't blame anybody, but somebody else was cleaning it and it ended up getting chipped. So I'm getting it fixed. And
Man, you guys, I'm sure you guys we just came back from an event in Morley, Michigan. Gems and Genetics. Shout out to Michigan Gems and Genetics, Daniel out there, man. But there's always at least one glass blower. And you go in, it's amazing what they can make for you. And they're happy to do it usually right there just to show off, what they're doing. So you can usually commission something right then, especially something like a Puffco Peak. Like they probably have fucking dyes and shit for that. Like okay, people request it so much. So I would
yeah, the
recommend
base is like a
do it.
standard size. There's like a guy who
Yeah.
Puffco contracts to do and there's even like a bunch of third parties. I think I thought it might have been Anything Grows who I saw contracted somebody and got like a mini version on their Puffco. So
Yeah.
I've seen like there's
I was
definitely
gonna
lots of glass
say
artists out there.
I recommend they're called dry pieces and what they eliminate the water entirely.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about.
So like this one right here is shout out to Noble Glass on Instagram. Look, he put a little opal in there. But so it eliminates the water, which means I mean I don't know how much of a clean freak everybody is, but this is way easier to clean. So even if you're not cleaning your piece every day or whatever, this right here is gonna say so much cleaner because it's just basically like having a pipe. And you have no water to deal with, and yes, I guess the water filters out some stuff, but I look in there and I'm like, that reclaim can be smoked. It looks so good. I want that. I want that. I don't want it to, I want to lose it. So once I tried that, And it seems like you can get a bigger hit like that too, like a regular hit like you would do from a regular glass. Not pretty goddamn close to a regular glass piece, in my opinion. And so, whoever invented that or came up with that, shout out to you. I think that's the new, I guess the thing out there for Father's Day, last minute Father's Day gifts for your smoking dads is get him a dry piece for his electronic device, man. Those things make those devices rip so nice.
I just upgraded to the little XL bucket, even though we don't really do giant dabs. This one can take fairly big dabs, but
That
um,
XL is awesome.
a little bit more space would is always appreciated, I think. And
Well, heat too. So, right, it's a bigger amount
bigger
of
hit,
space that's heating it,
smoother
right?
hit.
Yeah, man, it's so nice.
That's what I found. Like it, you do pay a little bit more for their higher end of their range, but the shit works real well. They're real convenient. They fit in a cup holder. Not encouraging anything there, but I'm
That's
just saying,
just by coincidence. It just so
total
happens
coincidence.
to 100 like perfectly
Like
fit.
snugly at the base, fits in like most American cup holders. So you don't even need the travel rig if you don't want to invest in like a little carry bag or something. But yeah, it's certainly makes traveling a lot more enjoyable. Or even just like going to like it's you could bring it to a festival very reasonably. Like I see people at some people hang them around their neck. There's like lanyards for them. People just walk around with it, just chilling around their neck. They're at a festival just dabbing out all day. I'm like, damn, you
Wow,
know,
that's something else. I was just about to like be the old man and be like, "Oh, you're so lazy, you can't even hold it." But I'm like, if I'm at a festival, I got enough shit in my hands. That would not be too bad, and it would just be hidden by my beard. I could just hide it, just put it up real tight and hide it, and nobody would even know it's there. Maybe just a mouthpiece poking through so I could take a hit.
it's like the girls who like hide joints in their hair when they go to concerts and stuff. Spartan's got a puff coat underneath his beard. Oh man, quite the visuals here. But going back a little bit, Father's Day. I'm curious if Brandon has any sort of like fatherly advice or any good mentors or just people that have maybe given you good advice. I know a lot of it is easier said than done. Like the first piece of advice Spartan gave is like have a yeah, it's like easy to say never give up, never quit. It's a lot harder to actually fucking do it. So you just got to be one of the rare ones who's actually out there like working those extra hours and not giving up. And then you end up seeing the payoff in so many ways. It's like I could sit here all night and talk about all the different payoffs that you get from working hard. But Brandon, I'm curious if you have any advice. I know that you've come a long way and made quite a great business for yourself and are doing a lot for your family and others. So I'm curious, you've got a lot of things that have maybe I think helped set you on the right path.
Well, I don't have any kids, and also, I didn't grow up with a dad, so, um, I didn't really have any fatherly advice given to me. But I can tell you this, if you if perception like shapes your reality, it really does. It shapes your emotional state of being, and it takes training though. Like you can't just expect your mind um to view things a certain way, or you can't just expect the things that you want just to happen. And I think the best course of action in anything is not put too much thinking into the future. It's good to set goals, but the future doesn't exist. It's just a series of infinite moments in the now, and if as long as you're doing the work, whatever outcome or goal you set, the probability of that thing occurring increases at every single moment until you're in a moment where you've achieved that reality. But it's all about train. You have to train your mind. You have to train your mind to uh, get rid of your anxieties and fears. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to understand where that's coming from. And a lot of that stuff, it comes from thinking ahead, what if scenarios. If you can get rid of all the what ifs and just be like, okay, this is the goal. These are the steps that I think that I could take. And if you miss a step or it didn't work out, just retrace the steps and figure out a new path. I guess that's the way my brain kind of operates anyway.
Very well said. I think anxiety it can be kind of oversimplified by saying like it's fearing of the future, and depression could be oversimplified by worrying about the past. So if you live in the present, a lot of people feel like you can find bliss.
And to
Yep.
add a little bit more onto that is one of the I always call them mind hacks for myself. I look at it in my head as like I've got neural pathways in my head, especially the older that I get, and I look at them like a river or just a furrow in the ground, a pathway, like and it's easy. That's the easy way for the water to flow. And if you want to change that way of thinking, it's like you have to fucking force another path. And you got to keep fucking encouraging that water to go that way until eventually that first way dries up. And then you're thinking that way without even thinking about it. That's just now you're thinking, yeah, I can do this. I can. And for me, one of those things that I use to carve another path is based essentially, I'm always trying to find the best in every situation. What's the thing I can learn from this, or why is this positive? Where's the positive? And for me, like what Brandon was saying kind of rung true to me was is like that fear, you got to fight through that fear. For me, it's like, what choice is the one that scares me the most? Because that's generally the one I need to go with. That's telling me I'm doing the right thing. If my heart starts getting like when I go speak in front of people, it's like, oh, I can barely hardly feel like I can talk sometimes before I get up there, but once I get going, I can just talk. But it's that fear you got to bust through. But that's now I know for me is when I feel that before I let myself get super anxious about it. I'm like, no, no, that's the feeling that you're doing the right thing, and that that helps.
Definitely know a little bit of that. There's the comfortable thing, and then there's the right thing, and the right thing's often not the easy thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking I got blessed to talk at that event too. They put us up as a panel, and I got to sit in with the Michigan Weedsters, whom I respect very highly, because they're pretty much the political watchdogs in Michigan, and so I lean on them a lot to just figure out what's going on the political spectrum. But they also reach out to me to hook me up with patients, honestly, for people that are needing help with getting RSO. So we've been good partners for a while, and I actually got a booth next to them this time. Well, I was there and they saw me and they were like, "Hey, can we set up?" I'm like, "God damn right, set up right here." But yeah, I got to sit on the panel with them, and they were talking about all the different ways that they had contributed individually. And then I got to sit in and say my piece, and there was a couple other people. One of my favorites is Michael File. Was there for harm reduction and talk about the harm reduction side of things. So we just had this nice panel, an educational panel, and it was really cool to be part of that.
It is always good to be a part of educational stuff. I think it's easy to underestimate the value of education. I think everybody I know who's valued it and gotten something good from it has seen their benefit in life in, vast amount of different ways. It can be hard to even realize how beneficial, even just being like literate. And I'm not even talking about like something complex like financial literacy. I'm talking about like, can you read the words on this paper and know what they mean? Because less and less of society is actually literate today. They can't physically read a piece of paper from like Floyd Mayweather to many others with way less resources. And it's a real problem. People watch videos, whether it's a YouTube video or TikTok or the news, and they just trust what they hear because they can't go and Google it and look it up. They can't fact check it. They're not even
Dude, I
able
can't
to
even trust what
read.
I'm seeing. That's
Yeah, AI has
crazy that
gotten so
anybody would
crazy.
trust media platforms because I saw AI videos that are almost indistinguishable, and I have to fact check videos to see if something's actually real now. So it's like I don't even believe things that I see.
Right.
Like they can make shit up, and who knows what the governments of the world already have that we don't have access to. So these deep fake shit could be going on, could have been going on potentially for a long time now. So I don't know what
Yeah,
the hell's really going on.
Yeah, think about if the IA, what the IA, the public can do right now. The military is like ahead 20 years, probably at least.
One quote I
So
remember is
um,
believe none
it's
of what you hear and
ridiculous.
half of what you see. And now it
Now,
really applies.
believe absolutely nothing on you see on a screen. You have to be there live to believe it anymore.
It's sad that
Yeah.
the confidence has been eroded, and I think there's gonna be more and more content put out there. But that makes work like Spartan's doing, like we're doing here with education and kind of getting the good word out more important because there's gonna be a sea of bullshit and fake stuff, but that will make people crave the authentic stuff and then learn the legitimate outlets and begin to realize like, okay, I can trust these people, but I maybe can't trust as much a lot of other sources. And I
They
think if
drive
anything,
us to only trusting AI.
that's a lot of people already, man. People instead of Google, they'll go to the AI version of it.
Oh, I do. I do.
And I'll use it as well, but I don't trust everything. I try and follow it
Yeah,
up.
I was gonna say AI.
But you can make it quick. I do the same thing. I like to use AI first because it cuts through all the fucking bullshit. Get you right to the information you're looking for, and then I say, what are your sources? Where did you get this information? And then it tells me that, and then I can say, can you give me an email or I mean, yeah, a link to this,
Yeah,
and I can click on it and I can look through it.
yeah, AI.
It's good for compiling information and organizing information.
And for like someone, it's gonna revolutionize everything. 'Cause I know people that are like lawyers and stuff, and they're like, not chat PT. I don't know what other ones they got. They're like, AI, go through this contract and find me things that I should be aware of, like whatever. You have to be the prompt is the whole thing. But I was gonna say, shit. Now I forgot. I got sidetracked. But oh yeah, AI only knows what humans started out. It's like yeah, like Brandon was saying, they collect from everywhere. But if AI is told
It's
lies, it
created its
will
own language.
reiterate those lies.
They can
So
create their own language. It can
they have
hallucinate.
created their own language already.
In the
Yeah,
case of legal, there was legal people that got in trouble because they trusted an early AI that quoted legal
they made up
cases that
the
never
cases.
actually happened. So
Right.
if you say, give
Yeah.
me that link, actually go to the link and verify it's a real link. Because I've had that happen too, where it's giving you something, okay, here's the source, and then I go and try and look up the source or the paper that it came from.
Yeah.
It's not a real thing. There's other
Uh,
papers that sound like it that have similar themes, and they have actually, it's not just what we know, because when you have AI start talking to it, each other, they start
right.
speaking in languages that we don't understand and that we've never
They made
programmed.
their own language. Yeah.
Yeah. Similar from stuff that like we have made, but they go in, combine multiple languages together and make it something that they immediately understand. But
You
I
guys
don't know.
heard the expression garbage in, garbage out, right? I'm a little afraid of AI, man, because everything that humans made has been garbage.
Not too wrong about that. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of, I
We
bet
made
you
that Lego video with AI and it turned out awesome.
there's a lot of cool shit that AI can do. I mean, from like generating graphics to videos to songs. Shit, I should play one of the songs that our fans made for us. We have like a 90s rock cheap home grow song, and we've also got like a 70s rock cheap home grow song. I think it was Weedner DWC, I'm pretty sure, put that
Sweet.
together.
I'm down to hear some AI fucking rock.
Let me see if I can find it.
He uses Photoshop and stuff too, so he has to do a lot of other stuff. But it's cool because he can put the storyboard together with still images, and then he can have those images animated, and then he can link everything together.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah,
fucking impressive.
super cool. Have you seen the Hash Cowboy 710 cartoon?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so check out their Hash Cowboy 710 on IG. They have this cartoon where they're like, I don't know, they're like kind of like country hicks, but they're all like super into dabbing and stuff. It's like a little comedy cartoon, and they use I think they're using like a AI Photoshop program to make that cartoon. I think it's
All right.
Hash Cowboy 710. Let
Yep,
me
I
look it up.
found it right now. I'm gonna try
You
to
did?
share. I'm gonna try to share. Request has been sent.
I just allowed it, and I'm gonna make it so that anybody can
Yes.
share.
Is
And I
it the
just
dude
found
on a
the
horse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here it goes. Now it's letting me. All right. Let me know if you can see this guy. All right, can I pause? Yeah. Unmute. Let let me know if you can hear it or not, okay? Because if you can't hear it, it's not gonna help.
I can't hear it yet.
You can't hear it? Or you can?
Not yet. But if you play it,
Oh,
maybe.
it's definitely loud.
We choose
Hold on.
right off into the sunset.
Oh yeah, we can hear it.
Nobody ever see me again.
It's just
All these hands I can choose right off into the sunset. Nobody ever see me again.
all right, I don't know if
Yes.
you heard that, but
Yeah,
that
we
was
heard it.
dying. That's some funny stuff right there. I'm
Respect
sure
to
there's been so many thousands of people have that thought every single day right now in the legal market.
It's funny because it's like they were able to, not have to be like some complex studio, maybe just a couple of guys that are working together and can create, whole animated series. It's like people can create businesses off entertainment like that.
they
So
can make whole
some of the
marketing
tools,
campaigns with it.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
There's
that's what I
artists
did. I did the
selling
Hank
AI
Hill.
art.
We did the Rick and Morty one. We did a King of the Soil. This is a King of the Hill.
I
We
saw
did
that
a
one.
Lego one. Yeah.
So I found the 1990s or 70s. What do you guys want to hear? Cheap Home Grow song.
Let's hear the 70s first.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here. Go ahead and share sound. Oh, that's a good option. And then mono, stereo, high fidelity. Okay, we'll go high fidelity. That sounds better, right?
Nice. I like it. 70s high fidelity.
Let me hook up my other two speakers.
Can you guys hear this?
Yes. Oh, good.
Crystal prisons of the mind, ancient wisdom we shall find. When the sun meets evening sky, cosmic truth begins to fly. Time dissolves into the air, consciousness beyond compare, floating through dimensions vast, present merging with the past. Spiral dancing through the spheres, understanding through the years, growing stronger as we learn, sacred knowledge that we earn. Together in the sacred space, cheap home row sets the pace. When twilight paints the evening sky, nature's gift help us fly, breaking boundaries day by day, growing naturally free. Landing guides us through the haze, teaching wisdom's ancient ways. Spartan shows the sacred art, American one strength within our heart. Jack and Noah light that fire, raising consciousness ever higher. Knowledge flows like morning rays, illuminating darker days. Growing stronger hour by hour, natural wisdom gives us power. Together in the sacred space, cheap hunger sets the pace. When twilight paints the evening sky, nature's gifts help us fly, breaking boundaries day by day, growing naturally.
Wow.
I know the
That's
video and
fucking
everything. That
awesome.
was great.
Fucking guitar was sweet, man. I'm liking it.
I was gonna say this, the guitar sounded sickeningly real, and I was
Yeah.
vibing out over here in my headphones, jamming at the end of that one. Nice little guitar solo there towards the end. It is pretty incredible what AI is already capable of doing, and I think we all realize it's only going to get better. We've seen it. It wasn't able to make hands like a year ago, and now it's fucking making smooth videos
Yeah, I
out
hope
of
there's
photo.
people that come back that are listening and look at the YouTube video because so they can see the AI. I mean, I'm not going to say whether it's accurate or not, but the AI generated versions of Tao, but they were different. And Seed Person says he's explaining it in chat, and he says, and shout out to Seed Person, by the way. He hooked me up with some sweet seeds. Um, he says, believe it or not, Tao actually appears differently to different people, kind of like Jesus.
It fits, lines up.
I'm not a shapeshifter though. I do I am perceived differently, but I am not a shapeshifter.
Maintains his form. It's just all about how you perceive him.
I like
Perception is reality, though, like others have said. So hopefully you come at things from a good perspective because it's easy to get that twisted. People can shift your focus, make you maybe potentially feel like you need to focus somewhere that may not be the most beneficial for yourself or for your
They
family
can,
or for your
they can
friends.
shift your vibrational frequency and get you down.
And that
You got to be
sounds like
careful.
hippy dippy bullshit, but man, I've seen it enacted in real life
Energy
so many
vampires, bro.
times, man. Oh man, that's a
we
real
could
thing. Soul sucking. I don't know if it's the actual soul or just the money, the energy, the time,
if
the
you want
emotions.
if you want to just the science part of it. I mean, if you want to go down the rabbit hole of every fucking atom, every fucking molecule in your body is vibrating, and then go down that rabbit hole of vibrations and different frequencies and how they affect each other, and tell me that vibrations don't matter.
Yeah, I certainly don't think that they don't matter. I think that they impact a lot. That's why so many people like music universally, right? Across the board, almost every country.
including
And
including plants.
yeah, there's been a lot of studies that show positive benefits of plants being exposed to different types of music. They seem to prefer certain music over other music. So that's even
Actually, the
interesting.
stringed instruments, which also cause vibrations.
Makes
Interesting.
sense in some regard. I think Twisted Roots is the one who got me on the concept of like sonic bloom and like trying to emulate birds, but essentially like maybe a plant's sensitive enough from an auditory perspective to know the difference between a bird and a whistle or a stringed instrument. But I think vibrating waves going through the air is part of nature. That's birds singing, that's coyotes howling, that's foxes trotting through the woods, that's deer fucking making weird ass grunts and shit. Like there's so many. Go spend some time in nature and tell me about the fucking sounds you'll hear. Because you stay out there and sit still for like an hour, you will see and hear some shit that you would. It is literally wild, hence the term. But you
Yeah,
will
but
feel
also
like you're
your
in a different world.
perceptions, like you're sitting in a tree for fucking 2 hours, and then all of a sudden you're waiting and waiting and waiting for like the biggest buck you ever seen in your life. You don't see shit, but all of a sudden you hear rustling in the leaves, and you get excited as shit because it sounds like a goddamn polar bear coming through the forest, and it's a fucking squirrel.
Squirrel. Yep. That was my thought. That's where my brain was going. I was like, it's gonna be a squirrel. It's always squirrels or little birds just jumping through because like in your head, your expectation versus reality, right? So like your first few times you go, you might expect that big buck, right? But then like eventually you realize I'm mostly out here just looking at fucking squirrels running up and down the trees.
Dude, there's a squirrel that taunts this dog I'm taking care of, and it makes just like I can't copy the noise, but it makes noises too. So the dog's trapped in a fence, and on either side there's like trees on the other side of the fence. The squirrel will climb up so that the dog can see it, shake its tail, and make this noise at it, and the dog just sits there and barks at it. It's so annoying sometimes. But I don't know
The
if they're
tale
like
as old as time.
playing. I don't know if it's friendly or if the dog wants to eat the squirrel because I want to shoot the squirrel because
Dog
like,
definitely wants to eat that squirrel.
I'm gonna let the dog. It's a little dog. I don't know who will win the fight, but I'm about to let it go on it.
Tao
You
comes
need
over
like
with one
a
of those branch loppers from
you
like
need like
Yeah,
over the fence.
get that squirrel.
you need a miniature fucking dart to tranquilize that squirrel when he's right by the above that t cage, like
There you go.
let him drop down and let him wake up with that dog over top of him.
There you go. Yeah, his eyes open, the dog's on top of him. Oh, that's a good idea, Sport.
Giving Tao all the ideas. How's
Start
Pennsylvania been treating you, Tao?
I'm getting a little bit used to it, dude. There's not pizza. There's no pizza that's worth eating here.
I just found a pizza place here. It's literally called Bronx Pizza in San
Hey,
Diego.
did
And
you eat some?
it is if you come to San Diego, that'd be the spot. I'd recommend any New Yorker go because it is fucking delicious. And it's like real Bronx style, like thin with a nice little crisp on the crust there.
Yeah,
But
there's another thing. Like, so even back in New York, we would tell them, can we get it well done or a little crispy? They don't understand that here. I don't know what it is, dude.
they're
It has
afraid to
never been,
overcook shit.
bro. I like I bring it in the house. I'm like, oh, it's not even well done. It's like undercooked. I had to put it in the oven again, and it made it a little bit better, but it's still don't fix it, man. It's like,
You
yeah,
got to
but
cook it like
still,
that in the original oven to temperature.
right.
That first cook.
Well, that's the secret too. If you ever want to reheat pizza, get that sheet pan. Heat up to 450 at least, and then you
Hot.
throw it on there, right? And that does it, man. Because like after I took it out, the Portnoy, the undercarriage, it stood. When I first got the pizza, you pick it up and it flopped like a freaking wet noodle. But after
Oh
I
fuck.
warmed it up, it did. It had that undercarriage. I lifted it up. It was still sliced. It looked really good, but it tasted like nah. So
You could
yeah,
fold it and make yourself a little pizza taco.
So what's your order, Tal? What pizza do you order?
I don't eat any pizza now in Pennsylvania. I do it just because I got to eat. But in New York, like every other spot was a good pizza, man. It was like the opposite. Every pizza is good in New York, and then you find a couple crap ones. Here, you can't even find a couple good ones. It's just all freaking crap.
I feel
But
like
other than
Tao's
that,
being
Just say
waterboarded with bad pizza in
so
I'm
PA.
I
saying
don't know if like
the best pizza I've had in my life, and it sucks because I obviously can't go there. But is and when I was in Barcelona,
you
and
know,
they literally cooked it right there in front of you in the fucking pizza oven, and I mean, it was barely in there. I mean, they cooked the shit
yeah,
out, but it comes out and it's thin as shit. And like he's saying, you could take a piece of slice and it doesn't even bend. It's just like
yeah.
it holds up, and you bite into it and it crunches. And we get margarita pizzas, and they put the big
Oh,
globs of fucking
dude.
mozzarella on there.
Fresh
Oh, fresh basil.
mozzarella,
Oh,
basil, yeah, dude.
yeah, the
Margarita
basil.
slice is
Oh.
my good. That's my favorite when it's good, dude.
Dude,
Uh,
we ate so many of those pizzas. We just kept going back to that place.
yeah, well, I found some stuff worth eating at least. I think I told you guys. I go into this place for egg sandwiches now. They got the eggs right at the chicken butt. So there's like no pasteurization or anything. Amish spot. So that's all good. So I've been trying to go there every day.
Can you
Whenever I
keep them
pass in
out
front.
in like regular temperature, just like room temp? You don't got to refrigerate them because they haven't been
I
washed.
don't know if they do or not. I don't know, but I know that they're real because they're different too when they're cooked, even
Yeah, they call
real
them
eggs.
up here farm to tables. I like those restaurants. We have one in my town, farm to
There you
table.
go.
I
And
love
then
those.
there's another place. It's a creamery, but they have like they sell burgers and stuff. And they make a killer burger that I found. So I have been eating a little more. So yeah, Pennsylvania's not as bad as it's getting better. Let's put it like that. But I still want to move on. I'm still like feel trapped and not happy. But
You're
I
used
got
to winters in New York, so I mean, it shouldn't be a too rude of
yeah, it's not
awakening.
a weather thing. It's just a uh, cultural and yeah, it's more red here. Let's put it like that. And I don't have the space in the room that I had at the other place. I have no, yeah,
Plus, it's super illegal there. Fuck,
yeah,
That's what he's
just
trying to say.
medical.
they're
Yes.
not cool about it at all.
No,
By all
uh,
accounts, I mean, you got to be real low key there.
yeah,
Even just as a smoker, they'll hassle people.
yeah. I try not to. Yeah, I've been pretty. Yeah, I haven't been doing much at all other than freaking delivering bread,
So the
but
best
it's all
pizza I
good.
had was in Seattle at a place called Romeo's Pizza. It was a little hole in the wall, and it was more of like a deep dish, but they just all the ingredients were on point. Great cheese, great dough, great meat. Like everything was fucking tip top. But I do prefer kind of the more Bronx style with that crisp, crunchy, flat style. crust there. But
My favorite place out here is like a Detroit style pizza, or it's kind of like a take on a Chicago style pizza, which is a really thick pie with the sauce on top. But it's a stuffed pizza, and I mean you get like two or three toppings inside with the cheese, and it's like if you can eat like three pieces and still eat, then you're like amazing. And like you have a couple pieces, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so full. But what's cool is like the first time I sat down and ordered that pizza because it's like a almost a novelty thing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I gotta try it. I don't know what this is. I mean, I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and then I said something to the person, one of the people that works there, and they brought me back the menu. And on the menu, it even had said, and I didn't notice, was that it takes them like 30 minutes or something to cook this pizza. So it's gonna be a lot longer wait than normal for pizza. And it just made me feel good at that point because I was like, okay, they're actually making this shit here. I mean, this is fresh. They're actually making it here. It's not like they took it out of the freezer. Um, so it's made to order and it takes a half hour, good long time to cook it. But then those things are awesome. I do recommend those.
can't go wrong with good pizza. Where are the pizza flavored cannabis strains at? I haven't seen that yet. I've seen cheese, I've seen
Wow.
some meaty
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah,
everyone, there's so many pizza lovers. I don't know anybody who's even claimed I got the pizza terps.
I never heard of anyone claiming pizza terms either. I never even thought about that.
I mean, even if you just went for like the cheese and the tomato sauce kind of like pizza vibe, that'd be tough to hit, I think. I don't even really know any tomato
I'm
based
saying
strains out there.
tomato. Cheeses there's out there, but
Cheese is out
tomato.
there for sure. I can't think of any tomato. I think I may have read somebody say that they've gotten some tomatoey, but like a fresh vegetable tomato, not like a sauce, which is kind of a different element. Maybe a little bit basil itself. A lot of
Basil, yeah. Yeah, I can see basil, and maybe you could go like pepperoni, possibly some of the spice in that pepperoni, maybe baby carotene high stuff.
oh, this place called Prince Street does like a rectangle pizza. It's like in between a flat and like a Chicago deep dish. It's like probably like a right about an inch, maybe a little under. And they get that cupped pepperoni. When they cook it, it like curls up
Oh
off the
yeah.
cheese, and they do a spicy pepperoni, and it's banging. So
You got a place out here called Jed's Pizza, and they put it in a square pan and they cook it so it gets the crunchy sides around the. Oh yeah, baby.
it's like the brownies, when you cook
Yep.
them just
Give me
right.
that corner. I want that corner piece,
Yeah,
dude.
that's Sicilian, right? Just a regular Sicilian pie.
I think that's a Sicilian style.
Yeah.
There's a place called Donato's in the Midwest that kind of did it that style. Maybe a little bit flatter, but good pepperoni with that nice it cups up off the cheese and has a nice crisp to it.
It's all crunchy when you bite
I'm
it.
a
Oh,
well done kind of guy. I like a little crisp to my crunch, my munch.
don't well done my beat though. Don't do that.
I
No.
finally, after years, you guys will hate me for this, of being a well done guy, asking for well done steaks. My whole life, if you ask for well done, it comes out medium well. It doesn't come out well done. So I'm like, all right, I'll ask for it well done because it's gonna come out medium well. That's kind of how I like it anyway. Finally ordered a steak at a place, well done, and it came out fucking well done. And I was like, it was actually a burger. And it was
Really?
like a interesting burger. It was like chuck and brisket. Chuck brisket burger. So kind of a different one. I love brisket and I love chuck. Even though that's kind of a cheap meat. And they fucking went full, cooked it all the way through. And I enjoyed it. So can't complain. That's how you order it. That's how you eat it.
You might not be able to complain, but have you tried it, the other way to see if you
I've
like it?
had it from rare to medium. I do
Yeah.
think for a good burger, I think medium to medium well is like where I do think it's best. I just from a young broke Midwest boy perspective grew up eating everything kind of well done from chicken, pork, beef, whatever, just to avoid any foodborne illnesses. My mom was not the most talented in the kitchen, so it was like, all right, well, if I cook it well done, then at least they're not going to go to the hospital for this shit, right? So that
True.
was like the metric. We joked
Dude,
that our smoke detector was like her cook timer, because as soon as you
Oh
heard
man.
that, dinner was almost ready.
Oh
sounds
man.
like my mom. But I found out later, man, if you get good meat, it tastes better a little undercooked, man. Like prime rib or filet mignon.
You mean cooked right, not undercooked.
Not undercooked, just not,
There's people out there that
yeah.
eat it raw,
Yeah,
dude.
there's people that eat that shit raw. I've seen this fat guy
I'll
just
tell you,
slicing it raw, man.
I'll tell you what, and this is the God honest truth. When I was newly a newly out of the home Spartan was out on my own, and I'm at my apartment, my first apartment, and I'm like, I'm gonna cook me a hamburger. So I take this big old fucking hamburger and I make it into a ball for some reason and fucking cook this ball instead of flattening it out at all. So I'm cooking this fucking ball. And I cook it till like the bottom's like almost burnt, like it's flat. And I'm like, oh, cool. Flip the other side, do the other side, put it on the hamburger, and I'm just fucking rip into that, bite into it. And it's
Seared this
still
thing.
hot and juicy. And I'm like big bites, right? So I'm like two, three, just wolfing this thing down, watching TV, not paying attention. I'm like, God damn, this is the best hamburger I ever had. And I didn't even put any sauce on it. It's the juiciest thing. And I look down and it is like raw in the middle. Raw in the middle. Like make you want to puke raw in the middle. But
It won't kill you.
I'll be honest with you. It tasted like the best fucking hamburger I ever had in my life. So, I mean,
Dude, the
the flavor
natives
is there if your eyes are closed. That shit is
natives ate raw meat
good.
for thousands of years.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like most of
I
them
can
did
see
not
why.
cook it. They even when they had fire, most of them were not cooking their meat. Like that was a there's a famous example of a guy who got taken into a tribe. I think they like killed his parents or whatever, maybe just kidnapped him. And like as part of his like coming of a manhood, they like offered him like fresh bread and like cooked food and other stuff like that. And then they offered the raw meat, which he'd kind of been forced to eat with the tribe that had taken him. And so he kind of knew this is like, I got to take their food. Otherwise, like if I take the other food, they're going to like kick me out. And so he went with the raw meat. And for even years after he got connected back with other parts of his family, still was like just super into eating raw meat. So it's historically something that's been done here for a long time, and it can be done. It's definitely an acquired taste, and it definitely comes with foodborne illnesses, right? Like there is things that can be done to even mitigate problems. Like back in the day, a lot of people just salted the shit out of their meat to store it before the refrigeration and things like that, and that would cut down on a lot just because it desiccated it and prevented bugs and molds and mildews and things like that from forming. So some crossover there with things like us storing our cannabis and trying to prevent it from molding and mildewing after harvest. So, good practices to be passed down. I think we need to do more to foster. I think, unlike the traditional mindset that kids should be forced to not be around cannabis, I think there should be more like Aaron the grower types out there, like with his daughter running around cannabis, helping transplant, like being with the plants. Because I was just watching, I think it was a Vietnamese tradition. They like shape their soil into like a mud block and they like throw it and like when it lands, it plops and like they cut like a little circle around the outside. Whoever gets the biggest flop kind of is like declared the winner and it's like a yearly annual like just for fun tradition. But they make like this like big like dinner platter size thing of soil and just like throw it and it just like plops. And some of them unwrap gloriously, like the whole entire thing comes off. And some of them just like barely a few feet and doesn't even like hit the measuring tape. But I think if we had more like fun events that were like that's kind of kid friendly, like our Canna events currently for the most part are adult focused, which to be understanding like you to get permits and things and to do it legally, you have to do that. But I think we need to move towards a society where like we can have vegetative plants out and show them to kids, or like Mendo Dope style, like try and have people like we're gonna do the tallest plant contest or something like that, and like you could cut it down and dry it and like bring in your stock or something, like have people just like bring in like these big ridiculous fucking poles, or like the fattest stalk, how big around can you get it, how heavy can you get a carcass of your plant, things like that. Like I think friendly competition that is objective makes a community of growers of all levels because like right now I think we've got like middle age and like young adults and like the elders, but like the young next generation, a lot of them aren't being exposed to the growing side of it, aren't being exposed to the culture and the traditions and the stuff that we kind of take maybe even for granted and shit on a little bit and call it like bro science and the old fashioned ways of doing things. But some of that guides the science. So it's like a big part of us. It's like the legacy is the backbone and made this industry even exist for these multi-billion-dollar empires to be built. But at the same time, we're not perfect and we can benefit from having physicists and genomists and other analytical testing
See
data.
yourself.
Another thing you could do is you can even dip your toes in it and bring your kids to a farmer's market. It's the same fucking thing, right? It's just different plants. And to get them used to like just like your medicine, your food, treat it the same way because your food ultimately is your medicine. You're putting it in your body more often than your medicine.
That's a lesson we should
So
teach young.
yeah,
Teach kids that.
yeah. So if you can't grow your own, at least talk to the actual farmer, get a relationship with them, and that's just going to be it's going to be so rewarding and for everybody and everybody involved, the farmer included. So, and you cut out that middleman, and there's no additional prices added on to accommodate for that middleman or middlewoman, I guess. It doesn't matter. So I think that's the best thing is seek out your local. If you're in a food desert, you're in a city or whatever, there's usually, some sort of farmers market. Find that farmers market, go support those local farmers that are bringing fresh fruits and vegetables, and you don't have to worry about supply chains and all that crap and what country did this come from? Is this going to be recalled? There's a farmer that's local that, they put it in their truck and brought it out that day.
Even if like in certain cases, I think I saw it might have been Detroit based, but there's like indoor hydroponic farms using LED and solutions like that. And they're growing lots of lettuce and fruits and vegetables and producing hundreds or thousands of pounds worth of stuff in seasons where they otherwise wouldn't have had fresh local produce available. And I love seeing systems like that start to work. Some of them don't, but a lot of them end up,
And they have a big farmers market down there too, which is cool to walk through there. I've only been through it a couple of times, but I love walking through there because you never know what you're going to see. You'll see a lot of the same vendors, that like you're talking about, maybe somebody who's got a big hydroponic setup, but then you'll see maybe some new person, and you never know what they'll see. It's cool. I love it. I love the farmers markets.
I would say this hydroponically grown lettuce or turnips or whatever the heck it is better than the highly processed foods that most people are eating. So it's not hydro versus organic. It's hydro versus not eating lettuce at all or not eating greens at all.
Jack is saying it's indoors better than outdoor. That's what Jack is trying to say.
No, I'm just saying like get your greens in, even if you like the unhealthy shit, pie, fast food, dessert, whatever it is, ice cream, like you can eat that shit too. Just eat a lot of good healthy stuff and be conscious of what we put in our body from our cannabis medicine to our food medicine, even our water. I think people aren't careful enough of the type of water until they get exposed to, unfortunately, some local toxin through their water system, or a friend or family member gets sick or dies or has some horrible illness, and then they find out it's because the water is terrible quality. Um, we're fucking 80% water. So obviously, I think having good quality sources of that is super key and important, no matter where you live. So whatever you got to do to secure access to that. I mean, there's entire continents that are still not secure in that. And it's crazy that we've had systems for, in certain cases, thousands of years that brought clean water to people. They weren't perfect, but some places don't have that currently, where like Rome had it back however many years ago. And so it's easy to take for granted, but definitely something, whether it's our grow and you're trying to get the lowest ppm or our bodies, I think easy to overlook the side effects even because there's a lot of shit in there. I didn't realize how much pharmaceuticals end up back in water that doesn't get filtered out. Like lithium specifically was one that worried me a lot when I started seeing that that stays in water for a very, very long time. And most municipal water systems are not adequately reducing that. So any level of that drug in your water supply is like if you know what that drug is or does, it's you definitely don't want to be taking it if you don't have to. So
They give it to people who have psychosis.
schizophrenia, psychosis, lots of severe mental illnesses require lithium to try and stabilize behavior and thoughts. Not always successfully, but that said, it's a very, very, very potent drug and
Does
not
it do
something that
the
you want to
opposite
unintend.
to regular individuals?
No, but
That's
it
it.
can mess up. I think it can mess up like hormonal balance, or yeah, like hormonal balance in the brain.
'Cause I was going to say that would explain a lot of what's happening in the world right now.
Well, it's like ADHD medication. If you don't have ADHD, it's like speed, essentially. Like back in the day, they used to give like methamphetamine salts for ADHD. And because the way that their system is wired, like everyone has a different endocannabinoid system. Some people smoke a sativa and fall asleep. Some people, they smoke a sativa and it gives them energy, like the majority. just to simplify. That's similar with just people's body. The, you know, drugs that impact our systems, each individual is unique. So some stuff that's perfectly okay for 100 people might kill someone, or it might have an opposite effect, like we're kind of describing now. So yeah, interesting to think what potentially lithium. I think it's more so just there's a lot of people actively taking a lot of different things at the same time. So then there's cross side effects. That's why I think cannabis is so powerful. It gets people off of so many of these pharmaceutical drugs, and then they avoid a lot of these side effects. The side effects, for the most part, from cannabis are desirable or pleasant or even like what we want. The feeling high, the munchies or increased appetite. If people like are going through chemotherapy, for example, that was one of the earliest, most obvious things. It got rid of nausea and it increased appetite for a lot of people with a lot of strains. So
And help with sleep.
helped sleep, helped pain relief, helped inflammation, all this stuff that ended up kind of second and third order benefits and effects because it is quote unquote a dirty drug. It can impact so many different systems. Um, it's also allows it to be an incredibly powerful drug. And I think that's why it was so widely used in pharma before it got banned. And it's still currently now being looked at for so many different reasons. From like I always mention that Israel, if you get a concussion in the military there, you currently get a nasal spray with THC and CBD to
Uh,
help lessen the damage to your brain.
Another interesting thing that I think, well, at least I haven't heard a lot about, um, that maybe somebody listening to this show, maybe in the future, listens to this and gets inspired by it to think about this. But think of the application of cannabis because to help uh, titrate people down off of the level of medication so they can take a lesser dose of the medication but get the same effect. And I saw this with my uncle when I was treating him with cannabis oil. And as I kept increasing his cannabis oil dose throughout the day, and he would get his testing done, they had to keep cranking down how much blood thinner he was taking. So I know it doesn't affect just that. So I wonder what other drugs it can work with. Uh, um, Another classic example is chemotherapy drugs. Chemotherapy drugs, when you also treat with higher levels of cannabis, like cannabis oil, um, those are more effective and they tend to have to bring them in at lesser doses. They don't have to go up as high to get the same results. All that stuff is like a harm reduction to me, right? Like because those chemotherapy drugs are damaging good and bad. So if you have to use less of it, that's harm reduction, even less to get you the same results. I think it's win-win-win. And I'm
I
excited for
think
that.
those studies are seeing something that's hard to really show in the science, which is the cannabis is just doing really a lot for them, and it's counteracting a lot of the negative effects of some of these drugs because, like you're saying, they are. And in some cases, you do need to nuke the system down and kill off some of those cancer cells. But the positive benefits, there's actually studies that show apoptosis from cannabis, like RSO. Like there's lots, go to cureyourowncancer.org, I think it is. And they have literally thousands of cases now of people sharing, here's me stage 3, here's me stage 4 cancer, and here's me cancer free, 3 months, 6 months, 5 months, however many months later. And they show the scan. Here's 2 weeks after I started RSO. Here's a month after. Here's a year, and you see the tumors literally shrink. And it's like, I think that there's a lot of maybe inconclusive currently, but hopefully soon to be conclusive evidence that cannabis is beneficial to cancer. I think one of the recent articles we covered said like, I think like 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 were showing positive benefits of cannabis versus any of the negative side effects. So it's slowly but surely getting pushed towards the forefront. And
There's it's different for each type of cancer, and there's different dosages recommended. I've actually reading a book right now that was sent to me by Chad Westport. Shout out to Chad. This is an awesome book. But it's called the Cannabis the Connection. Yeah, the Cannabis Cancer Connection. And this is a doctor who wrote this book, and he talks about his whole experience with all the patients that he came and he's worked with, and then all of the he ties everything to research papers for each disease, or each different cancer. So I highly recommend the book. If you know anybody who's I keep saying and I'm sorry, I'm high. I hate that. But anybody who is that is suffering from cancer or is growing for somebody who has cancer, I recommend this book, and what I was really surprised to see was he recommended cannabis oil the same way I make it too, as wide range as you can. He even goes into detail as into using the classifications of cannabis as like the type 1 plants, type 2 plants, type 3 plants, and saying, you should get one of each of those, which really made me push harder to go source CBD, not only seeds to grow myself, like I could put outside, grow some hemp, and then process that into CBD RSO oil that I can then blend into my THC RSO oil and get even more full spectrum. Because you have to remember too, if you can grow a hemp plant, most people focus so much on CBD like they do a THC plant, and they forget there's other cannabinoids that come along with that. Hemp doesn't just produce just CBD. It's also going to bring in some of these other cannabinoids that are might be not included in all of your other cultivars. On a hemp variety, it's likely it might be something pretty different. So to me, it was just like a light bulb. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm going to include that in there because now that's going to make my range so much wider. I'm pulling in not only CBD, but maybe some CBG and who knows what else. CBDV, some stuff for sure that I would never have been exposed to with just sticking to the THC side of things. So I'm excited about doing that. That book has opened my eyes a little bit to that, to like, oh yeah, why am I forgetting about this other side of it?
The cannabinoid sort of spectrum is very broad, and they have quite a variety of effects from CBD to CBDV to THCV, THC, even those just kind of all hit different ranges and use cases. And they can be isolated or whatever, purified, or mixed into a broad spectrum. And there's benefits of both. So I'm actually happy that both are available to a lot of people in their quiver. I'm glad that you are kind of getting more diversified in the cannabinoid spectrum because the more people get to try stuff firsthand, the better they can understand how it might help them. Because you might not go out and buy CBG or something that's high CBG, but you try something that Spartan made, and so he says, "Oh, this says, or maybe somebody gets it tested somewhere, and they do a mix of hemp and traditional high THC cannabis, and you start hitting some of these terpene, ester, aldehyde, ketone, flavonoid, etc., minor cannabinoid profiles that maybe you've never been exposed to. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't like cannabis." And then there's the person out there, you just haven't tried the right strain yet. And I'm that guy a lot of the time, but I think for good reason. There's like, um, I don't know. Some people will be like, I'm not a dog person, but like there's lots of different dogs out there. Like some of them are super high energy and need to be walked several miles a day, and some of them are super fucking chill. Some of them are gigantic, right? Weigh hundreds of pounds. Some of them, I saw a dog the other day. I think they said it weighed 4 pounds. 4 pounds? Dude, my cat's 3 times the size of that. Holy fuck. That's a tiny ass animal. Like if people want to, they can make something work. And not that they have to, but I think there's a lot of stuff out there that might benefit people if they're open-minded to it. And
And I
I think
encourage
cannabis
people
falls
to
in that.
look into CBD. It seems like people get onto the THC side and they don't, and they're, oh, that's not for me. Or I smoked a CBD joint and I felt nothing. And I encourage people to like smoke your regular THC, whatever you got going on. And then, like, for me, I even got a CBD dabs. I got Cannatonic right here. So I actually like to start with the CBD. So I'll do a dab of the CBD and then I'll follow it up with the THC. And it's so much better high. I like it way the fuck better.
That's the
That,
way to do it because if you go the opposite way, if you take all your THC dabs and then you hit that CBD dab, it's gonna make you feel like you're like going up a roller coaster and then you just like slowly descend to not so exciting fall off. And I think if you're doing like Spartan's saying or suggesting, you start with a CBD, you sort of prime your system. You're not expecting a big feeling from it. You might hopefully get some good flavor out of it, but even then, it's more. I think of CBD as like a nutrient supplement, like vitamin D or vitamin C. I don't take vitamin C thinking, oh man, I'm gonna get so high off of this. I take it thinking this is good for my body. It's gonna cover something that maybe I'm lacking because I didn't get enough vitamin C in food or who knows. And CBD, I think, is being looked at that way. At least in the California market, you see it at like health food stores. They're putting it in kombucha. They're putting it in coffee at coffee shops. It's probably super low dose and not enough to really
I mean,
make a
yeah, I say
huge
I'm so
difference.
sorry. That pisses me. It kind of pisses me off, and I see it throughout the cannabis industry, not just there. It's just like, what is this fucking 5 milligram doses of things? I understand whatever laws, blah
On the
blah.
THC
But
side, I
on
think
the
it makes some
CBD side,
sense. Yeah,
yeah,
CBD side, you got to go way higher. All the data points to like you need to have X amount of grams per kilogram of body weight, and that number is
yeah.
way higher than people think. It's not a
Look
milligram
at
thing.
yeah.
It's
When
like
I
thousands of milligrams for a proper dose for most people.
exactly, and that's what surprised me so much. Like when you actually kind of do the looking into it, and you're like, okay, whatever thing you're thinking, oh, someone's CBD is good for inflammation, we'll say. And then you go, okay, I'm gonna go look for up the studies. And you look it up and you actually look at the studies and then you look at the where they're going through methods. And you're like, what? They're taking how what? They're taking how much? And it's like, yeah, like you said, they're thousands of milligrams. I remember I was reading a sleep one, and they were taking like 1,000 milligrams of CBD. I'm like, okay, this is not like THC. Because you're not gonna have people just out of the blue start with nothing and then go to 1,000 milligrams. But they were doing that, and people were getting good results with the sleep. And I'm like, well, okay. So
So
that's
similar
what
for
forced me to
inflammation
think
markers.
about. And that's why I went straight to I'm gonna process it to an oil. I'm gonna concentrate it basically to get to those. Still not 1,000, but it's still gonna be hundreds at least.
Much higher dosage and just maybe more appropriate to start stimulating the CB2 receptor, where if you have 5 milligrams versus like RSO, you're gonna start getting like I think of RSO as like a 60 to 80% uh extraction typically, depending on how potent the material is going in. But even if you take like the 60% of that, 1 gram is gonna be 600 milligrams, which is getting up there. And you could pretty easily take if you capsule it up into little um, double O capsules or whatever, double O, I don't know, the thick vegan gel capsule or whatever, you can fit maybe half gram, 0.75 in each one of those bad boys.
You can
So,
put a gram in a double O capsule.
okay. So yeah, I usually just take
You gotta
half of
fill
it.
it this. You gotta fill it both halves and then smush it together. But you can get a
Yep.
gram.
So I usually just take like the half and then I don't even close it. I just pop it in my mouth
No, I do.
unclosed
I
so
do the
that I
same
can
thing.
stretch them.
Yeah.
But it apparently you can get a full gram in there. That's not something I've actually, it's especially because you dose it out for people that makes sense that you would want to have them as full as possible. And it just limits the amount that people have to take. And I recommended it to somebody the other day because they're saying like I tried this CBN, I tried the CBD, CBDN, THC. They're trying every single sleep edible, but it was like a 10-10-10, a 20-20-20 kind of, even if they eat the whole thing and get like a proper 100 milligrams of each or something dose, they're like, it might work one night and then it might not work the next night. And I was like, well, I could recommend you like some brand or whatever, but you're probably gonna have a similar experience because they're almost all regulated the same way and they have to dose things a certain way. I was like, you should try RSO, like a variety of RSOs. Like get a high CBD RSO, get a high THC RSO, get a 1-to-1 or a mix, like a 3-to-2 or a 1-to-1, 1-to-2, whatever it is, and just start taking a good amount of that and like work your way up. Because I found very few people that are RSO resistant. Like I know a lot of people
Yeah.
that are edible resistant, that are smoke resistant, they can smoke all day, they're not getting the high effect or whatever, you give them some RSO, I almost guarantee you 99 out of 100 people are going to start feeling better. And that 1 out of 100 might just need to take a little more RSO. So,
I just really I can't stress more than the wider spectrum, the wider range of not, cannabinoids that you can find in there. I think it's really the medicine. I've just seen it time and time again. And then I'm seeing it in this book where like, it was so good for me to read this book and get kind of confirmation to what I kind of already knew, but to just like somebody else is saying the same thing. Uh, so yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to add in the CBD. Yeah, there you go. You got some right there.
so this is an example of something that, as much as I enjoy it from flavor, and I actually dab this RSO because it's so clean. It's a Blue Dream strain specific run, and it comes in like a little dablicator pen or whatever. And I admit I do not like the dablicator. You have to really heat this thing up to even get it to dose any. But this is more like I'm having fun or looking for like a very specific effect. If I wanted like a full, make sure I'm trying to take care of like my medical needs, unless it was maybe for like focus. Um, I would prefer, like Spartan's describing, like a 5 or more strain blend versus like as appealing as this might be to see like a Blue Dream strain specific or a gelato strain specific or whatever strain specific that you like. I think even if you love that, maybe look for one that's that plus 5 things, or X company grows that strain that you like, and they're also making RSO. Well, some of that trim and small buds and shake are going from that strain into your RSO. And so you'll probably get that effect plus even more than you might even be expecting. So that's where I think it fights strain tolerance, and I think it just stimulates the cannabinoid system in a way. I smoke flower all day, and there's been days where I've tried like judging 30 different strains, and I got nice and well medicated and like a broad band high, like the highs, the lows, the middles, everything, hit all of it, and I could still like take a little RSO, and it's going to bring me up to a different level because it's saturating a different part of your cannabinoid system, like I think it's 11 hydroxy metabolite when you consume it orally that it
Yep.
turns into is just a way different beast than Delta 9 uh, THC. Have you
Yeah.
guys messed around with any like the Delta 8s or THCAs or anything that's like a derivative of the THCs that are like not in the traditional cannabis that we would grow?
I unfortunately have, yeah.
Was it just weak high? Didn't get you where you need to go?
It's like it's like distillate. It feels like distillate to me, but it was a gummy, and it was like from one of them, THCA and Delta 9. I think it said it had both of them in it, but it definitely affected me. But um, I still got regular RSO, and I've been because like I didn't have any other option at the time when I got them gummies. But I think they could be useful to add some. Well, I still wouldn't want the Delta 9, the Delta 8 shit, but um, the distillate might be good to just add a little THC if you're taking RSO. You just want to like up it a little bit. But I think like you guys are saying, you want that full spectrum. Anything you can get in there, you want in there if you get the most.
But you're right though. That's how you fit in distillate into a full spectrum. I have CBD distillate. So like I feel like I have everything else kind of covered in my THC side. I can throw in some CBD. I could dip it in this. It's like a powder. I can dip it into this, and now I'm getting CBD in there too.
I bought a little like gram of CBD distillate, and I use it so rarely. It's lasted like years because it's like so rare that I reach for that. But it's nice to have it as a tool
Is
in the
that
tool
your
belt.
emergency? Your emergency, I'm too high.
It's
Just
actually emergency if I got somebody else too high because
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
what I meant. Yeah.
yeah, I've never in the last few years felt too high. I had a strain that like I didn't enjoy the high a bunch. It just was more of like I think it might have been an early chop kind of thing. It made me feel antsy in like a physiological way. Like I had nothing to be antsy about. I like smoked it and immediately I was like, man, this shit just like kind of gets your skin crawling a little bit in like not a good way. Like I was having a great day, nothing, no stress, no worries. And it just like both my wife and I were just like, wow, this shit just like makes you feel a little off, you know? And
That
like
makes it reminds me of when I eat like if I eat not a micro dose of mushrooms, but not a hero dose, like that middle ground. I fucking hate that. And it's just like your skin crawls. There's no reason for it to be. You just can't don't even want to sit down. Yeah, that's unpleasant to me.
I don't like that at all. And I think it was just like I said, early crop, maybe not the right strain for us. And it reminded me that, even as long as I've been smoking, that some shit can kind of still humble you a little bit and make you realize like you can't just smoke everything and it's not going to impact you. Like
Oh,
for a while.
Potent Ponics has a product that he developed that's a sublingual that neutralizes those negative effects. Like if somebody eats too much edibles, or if your dog gets into a bag of weed, or you can give it orally, and in within a matter of minutes, it'll reduce those negative effects from overconsumption. Which overconsumption usually only happens when people are new or inexperienced.
Yeah, I would agree with that traditionally. I think it was just like trying a new strain and it wasn't an overconsumption thing as much as like a maybe being exposed to cannabinoids at a higher level than we were comfortable with that are like I think it might have been like CBG or CBGA, who
Maybe it
knows?
might have been accident. Maybe somebody used some type of pesticide on it when they were growing it, because that could cause those things, I would imagine too.
I'd be interested for sure. I think it might have just been a terp profile not agreeing with us on the new strain because I kept smoking the rest of it. I didn't let, well, didn't, my wife didn't want to smoke the rest of it. So I would always smoke it whenever she was like at work or on my own. And eventually it got to the point where it kind of reminded me a little bit, and I think it must be like a limonene mixed with like THCV or something else. Because the first time I smoked Jack the Ripper, I kind of got a similar like my heart palpitation kind of feeling, like, and some early Cinderella 99s I
Those
smoked.
are the types of weed that like you smoke when you're going hiking because you don't notice it when you're active, and it kind of enhances that experience. I
Makes it
know
way
that
better.
I have a lot of stuff that is like that, and I've had people tell me, "Oh, I can't smoke that," and I was all, "Well, bro, you just smoked it and went and sat on the couch because you wanted to chill.
That was our
That's not what
problem.
that's
We
for."
smoked it and sat on the couch. And like if I smoked it and did shit, got shit
Yeah,
done, and was
that's for like
productive.
smoking and then go ride your bike down at the beach.
For hikes, dude, I was really like deep in a hike one time and I brought a little pack of joints with me. And it was a strain like that that kind of just gives you legit energy and like I thought maybe I was overhyping like how much energy it would give me like sitting around the house. Maybe I could get up and do like some chores, clean the house, do whatever. Maybe get some invoices or whatever done for work or get a little bit of sharp focus. But like I was physically exhausted and didn't have any like more food or water necessarily. Like I had just enough to like be hydrated. But I smoked that joint and I do think like it also just calming you down like out in nature. It gets your heart rate maybe a little bit lower and so that like you're not using as much oxygen. And I don't know, from the mood to also, I do think it gave me like it legitimately felt like I ate food, like I ate like a trail mix or something. Like I had more energy. I marched the fuck out after I smoked that joint, like no problem. And I was, maybe it was just a few minute break I needed or whatever,
Did you
but
say what
it felt
weed
like a
that
lot
was?
more.
What strain that was?
It's called Devil's Dawn, but it's a citrus bomb is the actual name. And yeah, it was just a good
Citrusy terps, like, oh yeah.
high citrus. And man, it really like it was late in the afternoon. Like I'd been going really hard and carrying like a lot of weight, 35, 40 pounds with me and going up and down fucking mountainsides and shit at elevation, like 6,000 feet. And I'm used to being a beach baby over here at fucking sea level. So, and this was fairly early on into like when I was getting into that. And it was just truly impeccable. Like how I don't know. I'd heard my grandma when she was in like South America, she got altitude sickness and I think the Andes or something. And the local people gave her some tea, and she found out later it was coca leaves. So they gave her like a cocaine tea, and it made her feel a fucking hell of a lot better, and it cured the altitude sickness. But I think like certain drugs at altitude can certainly help the experience be less miserable.
Yeah,
Cannabis being one.
and let's be fair, the coca leaf's been consumed by people for a long time, and cocaine is refined from it. It's not just exactly the same thing.
Right, right, right. It's quite a process to go through, but still, just like kind of funny for if you knew my grandmother. She's a little bit, you
Well,
know,
that's
open, not
yeah.
as open to that kind of experimental kind of thing. I don't know
It's
if she would have known going
conservative.
in, but yeah, it's fascinating. I think they still Coca-Cola has like the license to import like cocaine, whatever coca leaves for their Coke.
Like, yeah, the research facility or whatever that works for the FDA that makes the cocaine, whatever they extract out of the plant, then they can get the plant material to Coca-Cola so they can still use it to flavor the Coke. The Coke.
Crazy man. Civil War recipe, still living on. But yeah, that's a interesting story people should look into if they haven't already learned. I actually, funny enough, did like a presentation in college about the company of Coca-Cola. And our history only went back to like a guy in Atlanta who had like a pharmacy, but he like bought the recipe from like the Civil War family guy. And
Yeah,
it's
dude, I watched the documentary on that guy, and the dude who originally created it, uh, he was like strung out on morphine, and the original idea was to make this like tonic, like this health tonic, essentially. It was wild. I think it was on Brands That Built America or something like that. It was like a National Geographic's channel, but they did one on like Heinz ketchup, Coca-Cola. Like it was pretty trippy hearing all the stuff because the guy basically that bought it from him just made just a ton of money, and this dude just ended up destitute, and I think he died from an overdose.
Yeah, watch. It's called Fat Files. His other channel is like a history channel, Fat Electrician, but this dude does Fat Files, and he has a video called "Coke's Recipe is the World's Biggest Psyop." And it's got 935,000 views currently, and it goes over all the history of it. So pretty fascinating shit, and he's very entertaining in his presentation. So, one worth checking out after the show at some point if you got some free time. Do any of you guys drink soda or Coca-Cola or pop, as they might call it, where Spartan's at?
Yeah, we call it
I like
pop.
cream soda.
But do you drink it still regularly?
Yeah.
Like you got a 12 pack in the fridge right now?
I probably have like maybe six of them in the fridge. I have a can sitting right next to me.
I drink
My
a
wife
lot
and I
of
have
tea
started
and
drinking the healthier ones, like the poppy, but I don't think they're that much healthier. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
healthier.
I bought apple cider the other day. I was like, I want something carbonated and juice, but juice. And I ended up buying apple cider.
I cut you off, Spartan. Did you say I think I know you're more of like a tea guy, but
yes, I'm generally drinking tea or flavored water, maybe water, but I will get a pop here and there. What I like is they have this carbonated, caffeinated water called ice up here. I don't know if they have it everywhere, but I get it at the gas station every here and there, and I like it. That's my coffee.
that's cool, man. Caffeine gets the job done. I've been drinking, I got a little overheated and dehydrated at the festival and ended up throwing up the second night because I just worked myself way too fucking hard and didn't eat enough, didn't drink enough electrolytes. I was drinking plenty of water, but didn't get enough electrolytes and ended up kind of like dehydrating myself a little bit that way. But afterwards, my mother-in-law and lovely wife got me some ginger ale and saltine crackers, which if you're
That's
ever upset stomach or trying to rehydrate, it's an easy way to hold some shit down, settle your stomach a little bit, get some
or get some ginger, actual ginger root.
actual ginger root would be probably more preferable.
Yeah, just chop it up, throw it in your fucking hot water, boil it up, make you put a little bit of honey in there, make you a ginger honey tea, and I'm telling you what, it's gonna make your belly feel so much better.
I have a little like immunity shots. They're like ginger, apple cider vinegar, little like a few, maybe 1 or 2 ounce thing. But I take them every day, and I can like feel I have some inflammation in my neck from past injuries and stuff. And even like my jaw and stuff like tightness. And as soon as I take the shot, like you can feel the inflammation in your body just like instantly, like seconds after you take it. It's kind of bizarre, honestly, how quick it works. And that's why I really feel food is medicine. Like if you start looking at foods like that, anti-inflammatory foods,
Hmm.
um, there's this guy, he does Wami Eat Wednesday, the dude who sang the Cucumba song. I think his name's Macca B. And he's got a lot of different songs about like fruits and vegetables, but he'll like just like people will like read off like terpenes and their benefits, like, oh, this is anti-inflammatory, fungal. He'll tell you that kind of stuff about the foods. And like it's a lot of stuff that you might already eat. And it just encourages me to eat more healthy food. I know I've shown some people and they're not very impressed by his work, but I tend to enjoy it. I like Jamaican shit and their music and the way he presents things. I'm not saying you got to go be vegan, but I do think that there's a lot of benefit from eating whole, natural, foods, vegetables, fruits, things like that.
Yeah,
But
I just want to say salt is good for you too. People, I don't know why they started that salt is bad for people, but yeah, you need that.
heart
Like we
disease and
talk about.
people got worried about sodium and they thought
Yeah,
that they misattributed it to causing cholesterol and other issues that also typically weren't actually that bad. But
yeah.
it,
They fabricate illness so they can treat you, so they can make money. I'm telling you, it's all big. Don't get me started, but
Big food, man. They try and like get you to the whole food pyramid, right? We're supposed to eat all the grains or whatever. That's what I was taught as a kid. And now you look at it and it's more like your base of that pyramid should probably be more like whole foods, whole veggies, uh, a little bit of fruit, some meats, cheeses, and nuts and things in the middle somewhere. But I'm not like anti-animal product because I realize that even to get fruits and veggies, there's a lot of animals that suffer or die. So there's no free lunch, so to speak. And I think we all just got to try our best to be ethical in how we source, whether it's our cannabis or food. But I'm wondering if Michigan Bros Grow Show is going on tonight or not, because there's about 14
Yeah.
minutes till that would normally start.
No, I didn't see anything about it today, so I think everybody's just celebrating Father's Day or whatever they got going on. Just not cool enough to have a show, I guess. I don't know.
It's all good. It reminds me of one of the quotes my dad used to say a lot. He would say, "The system is the solution," and he wasn't talking about like big government. He was talking about like actually having a system. Like you come home and you put your car keys in a spot. Like that's your system for your keys. It doesn't have to be a big fancy system. Maybe just like have it ritual or a way of doing things that works for you. Your system might be different than my system. Me and Spartan have a similar system in growing cannabis, organic soil, sips. Brandon uses beds. There's people like Dr. MJ who use cocoa. Every one of us have a system, and that system is a solution for us to grow successfully. But not a single one of us has the exact same system. I think like my system's probably closest to Spartan in terms of like he sent me a reamend recipe, so I used that for a long time, and we use the same base oil or did for a little while. And so like there's some crossover, but even then we get our own little preferences and differences and systems that work for us. And so I think that's a general life tip that can be applied to growing. The system is a solution. And another one, this is like general advice. You probably all heard this in kindergarten, but treat others as you want to be treated, and have respect. He really emphasized the second part of like having respect even for like the lowest level jobs or, the low man on the totem pole, so to speak. You could be the literally the lowest paid person at your company or the guy that everybody just walks by because oftentimes it was like the person cleaning or fixing stuff that might be overlooked or looked down upon even for a long time. I feel like that there's a change in that. I feel like the trades and stuff are like becoming uh, looked at in a more positive light, fortunately, in more recent times. But even then, whatever line of work somebody's in, sometimes people look down on or just kind of treat them like an NPC. Like you just walk right by the guy at the corner store and they get their shit, don't even look up from their phone. I've seen so many people just talking on their phone as they go through the checkout line and don't even like have the common courtesy to like stop their conversation and be like, "Hey, thanks, have a good day," or like, "Here's my change." And like, let me actually pay attention and like hear the actual total. And they slap the money down or slap the card down, fucking go about their day and don't give someone 2 seconds. And I get people are busy. That person's probably working or maybe they have a social life that they're trying to maintain or some lady or gentleman that they're trying to pick up and spit that game or whatever it is. But I think common courtesy is something I think I see an insult thrown around in the online community. People will say fatherless behavior. And sometimes I think it's race related, unfortunately. But I think people should rightfully apply it, I think, to people just like misbehavior, bad behavior, kind of inappropriate behavior, and sort of insinuating that if there was a father around, they would have made better and decisions or life choices, etc. And so, not to say that it actually has to be a father, it could be two moms, it could be two dads, it could be whatever the fuck the situation is. A foster parent that's actually a good one versus a lot of the bad ones out there. Because just because somebody has the name father or dad doesn't mean that they're going to make all the right decisions. No one's perfect, or even any good ones. There's some total pieces of garbage out there. So if you're in one of those situations, I'm not saying like blindly follow your father or whatever. But I do think there's a lot of good dads and a lot of good fathers out there, and this is their day to be celebrated. So it is interesting to look at it from that sort of fatherly perspective and kind of reevaluate some things, and a lot of it applies in life and in our gardens. Another one my dad used to say is, "If you look good, you feel good," and I used to sort of hate that one because I thought it made too much into like the vanity of life, like your outward appearance should mean something or something like that. But he didn't really necessarily mean it in the way of like you want to like be flashy and like try and impress people. It was more like looking good to you is like it could be a old t-shirt from your high school or something that just means something to you. Like what makes you feel like you look good. Like when you put that thing on, it could be a comfort thing or it could be like a rarity thing. How special that shirt is because there's only one of them or they don't make them anymore or whatever it is. Like it doesn't have to be a three-piece suit and some fancy shoes, although I think occasionally it can be literally applied. Like if you dress up for an event, sometimes it does feel nice to fucking get a little fancy, especially if you're like me and don't get fancy too often. Where like some people, if you're a lawyer, you have to get dressed up every day for work. So maybe you're not gonna feel the same effect of putting on that suit and being like, oh man, I look good, I feel good. But
That's
even
why I
within
went to
that,
the naked beach. I want to look my best.
show people your best sides.
That's it. But Jack, on the point of yeah, even like people just ignore the guy at the cash register. I want to give people this word of advice: to fat and ugly chicks, be nice to them because they have hot friends that you can end up hooking up with. I mean, I'm a little late to that party, but for you younger ones, man, that's a good point to take to heart.
And there's this new class of drugs called GLP-1s. And sometimes those overweight ladies or gentlemen out there might start, losing weight and
You know,
become the hot person on the block. I
if
know
I was a
somebody who's made that transformation, a few
if
people.
I was yeah, if I was that GLP salesman, I'd be like, listen, just sneak it into a drink every night. You trust me.
I think they're coming out with a drinkable version. I think it has to be injected currently, but I think there are
Oh
drinkable
yeah, you're
versions of it.
right. Yeah,
It's
they
a
were talking
peptide
about
though,
that.
so you can fucking like order it from India or something online. So it's people are making their own Ozempic shots or whatever it is, Wegovy or any of these drugs. Like I said, I'm generally not a big pharmaceutical supporter, but when the alternative is a lot of these people have tried different diet, exercise, etc. Nothing necessarily worked, or maybe you could argue, oh, they weren't committed enough, this or that. But like some of them actually really tried their best and were not able to, whether due to resources or whatever it is, bad food and or bad
I don't know
training.
about, dude. I don't know about that. I
Because
don't know about.
and somebody has pushed
Was
back on
there
that,
any?
said like if you go to a concentration camp, there's never any
Yeah,
obese
there is
people.
nobody fat people there that can't lose the weight at a concentration camp.
I think it's an extreme though. I think in general
Yeah, it is.
society, it's harder for especially because the food is poison at this point, as we all realize the fucking food is garbage in general standpoint. It's you have to do a lot of due diligence and pay more money if you want to get actual quality healthy food. But I think personally, the reason I've always paid for it ever since I moved out to California for college is I looked at it as like I'd rather pay more for food and not have to potentially deal with as many medical bills. It's like I almost looked at it as a direct trade-off. Like if I eat really garbage all the time, I'm eventually going to have more illness and more injury and this and that. So it's almost like there's insurance companies that actually give you lower rates if you can like prove that you're spending X amount of dollars per month on like vegetables and shit. And like a gym membership, they'll pay for it. So it's worth looking into the different options that you have. Like there's shit out there like HSAs and FSAs. Like you can get like fucking stretching and massages and shit partially covered or fully covered depending on your setup and situation. So uh
And the problem
health.
is people are impatient, super patient, man. And so it's like when you took, 15 years to get unhealthy and you expect to in 2 years get back to healthy, that's not even healthy mindset from the beginning. You should be losing, if you want to lose. I remember I was a amateur bodybuilder. I've lost a lot since, but it's like you didn't want to gain or lose more than about 2 pounds a week at the most, or you're just pushing into unhealthy territory. So,
I lost 8 pounds in 2 days at that festival. So that shows
yeah,
you right there.
see,
That's unhealthy
it
as fuck.
messes you
I didn't
up.
have the weight to lose either. I had been lifting like high protein in terms of like bodybuilding. I just crossed that point on the BMI where I went from healthy to overweight. But I like looking at my, body and my diet and everything. It wasn't because I was fat. I just had been lifting enough weight and packing on enough protein. I'd gotten to the point where it's like, I'm mostly muscle, like a low body fat percentage. And losing that weight, like I leaned out, but I felt like shit. I felt weaker. I thought like, can I lose 5 or 10 pounds and maintain the same strength? If I doing it that way, the answer was absolutely fucking no. So, like Spartan saying, like I think a half pound a week is what was recommended when I looked up, and like a pound a week at most. And it is crazy though, because water weight, dude, I've there's been days like if I weigh myself in the morning, and this is why I always weigh myself like right when I wake up, no clothes, anything, just keep it consistent every day. Because if you weigh yourself in the morning versus like at the very end of the night after you've eaten and drank all day, you're gonna have a lot of fucking water weight. So by the time you piss and shit all that off the next day, at least most of it, you might shift if you're in the 180 to 200 pound range, 5 pounds over a single day, depending on what time you're weighing yourself. So it's um, like a lot of things, it's important how you go about measuring. So it's easy to get in your own
Not
head and
really, yeah, and
misinterpret.
it's not even important the numbers that are showing up. The only importance is the change. Like, am I going up or am I going down or am I staying the same? If what's your goal? And if the goal is to stay the same and you're staying the same, good. Don't change anything. That's really the thing. That's the tool that you should be using that for. I think too many people get really focused on those numbers. Oh, I got to be at this number. I got to be at that number. What would those numbers say? What's your goal? You want to gain weight, lose weight, or stay the same? Okay. What number are you at? Oh, you're trending going up consistently and you want to be going up, you're good. Keep going with it. Or you wanting to go down and you're going up, you need to change some shit.
Well, and people know if they're being healthy, like if they're exercising and eating right, they know that they're doing that. So it's a lot easier for them to say like, okay, I'm maintaining weight even though I want to lose it. Well, a lot of that is like you lose weight to a certain point because you're burning fat. And then at a certain point you start to gain muscle back and muscle weighs more than fat. So like some people get really bummed out when they see that number start to jump back up. But sometimes it's literally they packed on muscle or they're maintaining like a more of a flat line and starting to build muscle. So there's a lot of misperception that can come with that number on the scale. But it's just one metric, and I do think that it can be for average people a pretty decent one, like even just BMI. If you're in like the obese or overweight category and you're not, fucking lifting tons of weight and super muscular, then it's probably a decent sign that you might benefit from losing a little bit of weight. And there's cannabis out there that can help you, fucking high THCV, and other things like that. I've found more often now, weirdly enough, in like the last 5 to 10 years, cannabis actually stunts my appetite more than it stimulates it, most strains. Like if I'm about to eat, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna smoke and it's gonna make it taste way better. That's how it used to be, like in the 90s and early 2000s. Now it's like 50-50, man. It's like I might smoke it and be like, man, now I'm just in the mood to maybe smoke a little more. Like I'm not even that hungry, or I might even, yeah, suppress it. Like fucking, it's crazy how what I think is one of the biggest stereotypes of cannabis, the side effect, the munchies, is like not so common or prevalent, at least not in my experience recently.
I think dabs will do that for me still. Like if I get concentrated or like multiple joints in a row, um, I'm gonna get a dry mouth for sure. So I'm gonna always have some tea or something drinking. For one, for two, I noticed that if I'm going pushing into the recreational side of things, that is what takes me to get the munchies. Then I'll be like after that. It tends to be kind of at after it peaks, after you're starting to come back down again, and then it's on like, oh man, I could eat just about anything right now.
It's nice because even if you're super fucking medicated, I think eating is like a natural thing that brings people down. So your body starts processing something else, your focus shifts to something else, and it can be a pretty good natural way. I think Seth Rogen and Ricky Williams both recommended like eating something when they were too high, as a way to make yourself feel a little bit better. But we're about the 2 minutes away from wrapping down, 1 minute away now from closing up the show. So I'm going to pass it first to Spartan Grown for any final thoughts and shout outs before we close it down on Father's Day.
I just want to shout out to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. I also want to shout out to everyone that showed up to the Gems and Genetics event in Michigan. It was cool to talk to everyone. I mean, Mendo Dope came out again. They're like they really support like the real family events like that. So it becomes a whole big family. It's cool to see. It's cool to see a lot of same faces, same people, vendors too. A lot of the same vendors I see every year. It's becoming like a family. So I look forward to it. It's like an event that even if I didn't vend at, I would support by just showing up and doing the speeches and all that good stuff. So mad love to the Gems and Genetics family. Other than that, shout out to everybody to Michigan Bros Grow Show. Hopefully we'll have a show one of these years. That'd be sweet. Much love to you guys. And much love to Chat for always showing up. Other than that, keep growing, everybody.
Peace out, Spartan. Thank you so much for joining us as always. And next up, we've got Brandon Rust.
Yeah, well, it's good to be here. We're having a sale on the trichoderma and bacillus, so you can check out the website, wakashi.earthworks.net. I'll be heading off to Puerto Rico for the Can Med event all week. And maybe we'll see you guys next week.
Good stuff. I may be broadcasting live from a different location next week. I'm in the process of moving into a new spot after a long time. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully get the internet and everything all set up before then. And if not, I'll make sure to let everybody know I won't be anywhere out and about, so I should be able to communicate. Last and certainly not least, we've got the American one.
Jack, as always, thanks for the hosting, and shout out to everyone in chat. I'm the American one. Everybody usually knows where to find me, and if I don't see you in between, we'll see you next week, man. Peace out, everybody. Happy Father's Day to all the ones who prove they ain't shooting blanks, and we'll see you next week.
Just like Spartan Groans, pollen, not shooting blanks. There's plenty of dads out there doing the same. So cheers to you, hopefully, and fertile folks. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Thank you all for showing up this week. It's always a pleasure to have people here in the live chat with us. And you can find me at Jack Greenstock on Instagram. Jack_Greenstock is where I'm at on X, and that's my backup account, just in case I fall victim, just like Brandon or anything grows or any of the other hundreds or thousands of cannabis accounts who've been deleted wrongfully off Instagram. I know I say wrongfully, but yeah, it's technically against their terms of service, but they have way worse shit on there. And at this point, it's legal in almost every territory, including the one that they were like founded in. So, fuck Meta. They need to get their shit together. Uh, See y'all next week, all. Peace and love. Cheers.